The Serving Up Discipleship podcast is to help our audience understand the sacred work of service missionaries and why service missions are spiritually transformative and fulfilling. This podcast is produced under the direction of a senior service missionary couple, social media advisors.
Welcome to Serving Up Discipleship. I'm Elder Price, and this is
Elder Lewis.
Elder Lewis. Awesome. We're your hosts today and for this podcast, and we got some cool things coming for you. We're trying to get the service mission name out there and to kind of show the world who we are and what we do. Ain't that right, Elder Lewis?
Sounds right, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so just kind of for beginners, we're going to introduce ourselves and kind of just give a little bit of who we are and what we do. So, Elder Lewis, do you want to start?
Sure. Elder Lewis. Hi, how's it going? I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I've been on my mission for 15 months. That sounds about right. 13. I don't remember.
That's a long time.
Anyways, I've been on my mission for a little over a year. We'll just go with that. That works.
Awesome.
And I served the first half of my mission, the first year of my mission out in Idaho, and got injured and had to come home and heal. And it's been a wonderful 4 months since I've been home.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're helping me out with this. I'm Elder Price, if you didn't know, and I guess you might not be able to read my name tag, but Elder Price. I'm currently in Cedar City, Utah. So opposite sides. Pretty nice place here. I actually did live in Idaho for quite a while before I moved to Cedar. So I'm very familiar with where Elder Lewis served. And I too am now a service missionary. I've been out for almost 6 months, I think. So I'm still pretty fresh. Still pretty new. So we'll get there though. We'll get there. Okay, well that's us. That's your hosts. And for the future, I think what's kind of the plan, Elder Lewis? What are we wanting to do with this podcast?
Well, in the future, we're going to be pulling in, guest speakers. We're going to have other service missionaries, either in our respective areas in both around Cedar City, Utah, or around Jacksonville, or we'll have other service missionaries or recently released service missionaries from other parts of North America, and we will do interviews with them and get to know them and kind of get to know their stories a little bit.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think you are too, right?
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited to hear the stories and just kind of get some of the service mission elements out there. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really know A, what a service mission is, and B, like what it holds, what it has for you. And so,
or how important it is.
Yeah. I'm super excited to talk about that with all of you. And for the last bit of kind of intros, I just wanted to make note that me and Elder Lewis are a part of a social media council for a group that we have. And Elder Lewis happens to be, what do I call you? The leader of that?
It's team lead.
Team leader.
The title, apparently.
So, I mean, since you're technically the leader, like I'll let you kind of explain what it is, since you know more than I do.
And I know about as much as you do. I'll be honest.
Oh man, you got this.
It's essentially a group of 6 missionaries, myself included, that are scattered across North America, and our task is kind of what the podcast is doing, is to try and educate people about service missions and try to make sure that people are aware of how important they are and that they are still legitimate missions, and just kind of get the word out there of what we do as service missionaries. And so the goal, that's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, is to help further that purpose and that goal.
Yeah. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I hope it's entertaining, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, well, for this episode, I came with 3 questions. All right, you ready for this, Elder Lewis?
Ready as I'll ever be.
So we kind of did our introductions, but now we kind of want to give just a preface of service missions in general, and I want to just mainly focus on this. So I'm going to ask this, and both of us are going to answer. Okay, so the first question is, what is your favorite part of a service mission?
That was a very good question. I would have to say all the different service opportunities I get to have. And my favorite one of all time is being able to be an ordinance worker in the temple. Going every single week and doing the work of the Lord in the temple is always a huge blessing for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for me, I would definitely say probably the schedule, because it's tailored to you. The service missionary schedule is tailored to the person that's serving, right? And so it's awesome. Like we can get, if you love animals, you can go serve at the animal shelter. If you love working at like a grocery store type of setting, you can go work at the Bishop's Storehouse and give people who need food. And it's just super cool. And to add on, I would definitely say that the temple is probably one of my favorite things too. I'm an ordinance worker as well, and I love being in the temple and helping out and serving there. So yeah, I think that's kind of our favorite spots. Okay, the next question. What was this is going to be interesting. So you might have to think about this. I can answer first if you want me to.
Okay.
What was the most impactful experience you have had as a service missionary?
Yeah, you're gonna have to go first on that one.
I was wondering about that. I know I didn't give you much time to really think these over, but
It's all good.
okay. So for me, I've had a lot of cool experiences, right? I mean, working in the temple, you see them all the time. You do. But outside of the temple, there's a lot of very tender moments, whether it was at the Bishop's Storehouse where I was, I stayed after for a guy who didn't have any food and he wasn't able to eat that day at all. And for us to be able to give him food and for him to actually be able to eat that night and put food on the table for his family, like that was super impactful for me. But there was one time that I specifically remember. We were at Walmart, I think, ringing the bells for the Salvation Army, which is weird, but we were doing it as an act of service to help people out. And I remember there was a guy who was walking out and he like put his hand on my shoulder and I was like, what's going on? And he was like shaking and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is kind of strange, but hopefully he's all right. And he basically just asked me, he's like, hey man, I'm like freezing. Can you help me get to my car? I can't walk very well. And I could visibly tell that he was like an older guy, kind of really needed help. And so it was just such a tender moment. I was able to walk this guy to his car. And I mean, I got on the other side, I turned the car on, got his heater up and going. And I realized I looked over and he couldn't even get into a seat. So I went over there, I helped him with his groceries and I almost like lifted him into his seat. And the most impactful part was right after, was when he kind of he just put his hand on my arm and was just still shaking, but he looked me dead in his eye and he was like, thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. And we had such a good conversation and the spirit was there and it was super powerful. And that one I wrote down in my journal. I have that like remembered, and it was an amazing experience. Even later, after that situation happened, they drove up and his wife was there at that time. And she was telling me that he had like dementia and just a few things that were happening with him. And he was getting worse and he really needed that active service that day. And it was a super huge blessing. And so she was just super grateful and he was as well. And that one hit me hard because that was right when I transferred and I didn't know what was going on in the service mission. I didn't know, like, you sometimes you don't know the good you truly do. And when it finally came at me at face level, it was pretty powerful. So that was my most impactful experience on the mission probably so far. All right. Did I give you enough time?
Yeah, it did.
Awesome.
I don't know if I had per se one specific instance where that was super impactful for me. But for me, transferring home from a teaching mission to a service mission was really hard. I had worked hard to be on a teaching mission, and I had worked hard to be there. And so that the transition was really, really hard. And one of the things that I learned from this experience that was super, super amazing was because of the injury that I had on my mission, I learned a different side of the atonement. I'm used to being able to help me with my mental, spiritual, and emotional, and even social aspects of my life. And growing up, I'd always heard people say, "Oh, it can also help you physically," and I was like kind of brushed off, like, it's whatever, like that doesn't make any sense to me. And but since I came home for this physical injury and I had surgery and the recovery process that I had, I saw the atonement working in my life in a way that I had never seen before. The surgery went perfectly. It went as good as it could have ever gone. There was no complications with it. I didn't experience any pain in the weeks and months after the surgery. I haven't experienced very much pain from it since walking on it, getting back and walking on it on my ankles, where the injury is. And just, the lessons that I have learned from being a service missionary, I don't think I could have ever learned as a teaching missionary. I don't think that I could have ever learned this side of the atonement if I hadn't come home to heal and have that surgery. I don't think I could have learned, different things that I have learned as a service missionary if I had stayed as a teaching missionary. So it's interesting how, we may be imperfect people, but the Lord perfects our efforts and perfects our service to Him. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I think that, service missions can hold such great experiences that you just don't have any other way. And it's so sad that people don't know about it. And that's kind of what we're doing. That's our purpose, is to get it out. And along with that and sharing kind of what we do, in further episodes, we'll discuss some of the most common questions we get and things of how we answer that and what we do really. And we'll get in there and schedule wise and get it all figured out and help others know exactly what a service mission is, what it does, and how we can help others do it. So to end off, well, I guess I got one more question, which is kind of the ending question, but why would you recommend a service mission to someone else?
Not everyone is as capable as other people, right? Like, everyone has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses. And one of the amazing things about service missions is that because they are catered to the person that is serving, if someone has a mental disability or a physical disability, you can cater what you're doing to those disabilities, right? Like, for example, if you physically cannot lift heavy objects or, whatever the case may be, then you can do stuff that's catered more to, social interaction, or even do, something that I do a lot is I work for the Global Services Department, and I do caseworks and stuff. And that's all on the computer, so I don't have to worry about physical stuff. And so, yeah, it's because it's catered to the person. If you, for whatever reason, aren't capable of serving a teaching mission, which can be very stressful and very laborious, service missions provide that catered and very specific experience for you.
Yeah. I always like to say, going off of your ability to serve, right? So, for someone, a teaching mission might have them or might help them to have their full ability to serve. They hit their full potential service on a teaching mission, but others, they'll hit their full on a service mission. And I think it's so cool that nowadays there are two types of full-time missions, two types. There's a teaching where you're focused on teaching, and there's a service where you're focused on service. And I think that's so important we share with everyone. They're both full-time, they are equal, and one teaches and one serves, and they get mixed and mingled. So it's important that we kind of clarify this to you. And why I would recommend it is it's a great way to, I guess, in a sense, find yourself, right? I mean, when you're doing service, it's helping others, and it's immediately just helping yourself at the same time, right? You're able to get these blessings that you wouldn't have had any other way. And it's a way that you can just, see miracles, and it's just awesome. Both teaching and service mission. I recommend that all of you just choose a mission, go on a mission, whether it's service or teaching. They're both going to bless your lives eternally. It's going to be an incredible experience. Well,
and most importantly, it's going to bless other people's lives too.
Yeah.
Whether it's a teaching or a service mission. I mean, your experience that you shared on the price of it being of the people that you helped and how that blessed their lives. I mean, that's across the board. Teaching or service missions, you can bless people like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's awesome. It's a great experience. And so We're running out of time today, but just, for the future, we're going to have some people that we're going to interview, other service missionaries, return missionaries, just try to get everyone on here. We're going to try to show the purpose of service missionaries and show what we really do. I feel like a lot of people don't know our day-to-day activities or day-to-day assignments that we have. And we just kind of want to share the life of a service mission. We want to serve up some discipleship. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to add, Elder Lewis?
Nah, I think about it covers it.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to do an outro yet because we haven't decided, but till next time, let's serve up some discipleship.
Thank you for taking the time to see or hear this podcast. Your hosts were Elder Lewis and Elder Price. Your editor is me, Elder Gibby. If you want to see clips from the show or other service mission related content, please look for the Hands of the Lord Facebook page. Thanks again for thinking of us, and we'll see you next time.